Yo, what's up guys? Teacher Paul here, and today we are reacting to a video which is very interesting. It was requested by Nami and selected by Hanzi, and Hanzi chose this video. How do insects survive the winter? So it's from a channel called SciShow, and if you want to watch that before my reaction, link is in the description. Go check it out and then come back to see my reaction to it. Let's go, guys. Thank you so much, Hanzi, for this request, and Nami as well.
Unlike us lucky endotherms, insects can't regulate their own body temperature.
Where do I know this guy from? I know him from somewhere. Can't remember, but... Wait, I've seen him before.
Insects can't regulate their own body temperatures. They are at the mercy of their...
Let's start from the beginning. So, insects can't?
Unlike us lucky endotherms, insects can't regulate their own body temperatures. They are at the mercy of their environment. So when cold winter arrives, how do they keep from freezing? They basically have three choices. They can leave for warmer places, they can wait it out, or they can kick the bucket. Just like some birds, there are a few insects like dragonflies or butterflies that fly south for the winter. The most famous of these has got to be the monarch butterfly. There's a population that normally lives in the northern US and Canada, but spends the winter in the balmy mountain forests of Mexico. Of course, many insects have shorter lives than birds, so a special migratory generation of the monarchs flies south thousands of miles to Mexico without reproducing, but it takes 4 or 5 generations to make the trip back north. If an insect can't leave when winter arrives, option number 2 is to hunker down and wait for things to warm up again. Insects like ladybugs, emerald ash borers, and morning cloak butterflies burrow into soil or leaf litter for warmth. There, these adult insects enter a kind of hibernation called diapause, thanks to hormones triggered by the shorter days and cooler temperatures of autumn. Their metabolic rates drop dramatically, so they don't need as much food, and some species even pump their tissues full of alcohols that act as a natural antifreeze. Basically, these chemicals lower the freezing point inside their cells, which prevents damaging ice crystals from forming. Now, plenty of insects, like crickets and grasshoppers, just throw in the towel when the temperature drops. The adults die off after reproducing in the fall, and the next generation spends the winter as dormant eggs or larvae. These babies are usually pretty well equipped for survival. Eggs and larvae can enter diapause just like adults can, and some get extra help from their doomed parents. Praying mantises, for example, envelop their eggs in a foam-like protective protein case. These days, climate change is messing with the overwintering strategies of some insects, and it's even letting some less cold-tolerant species venture farther north, which...
Okay, but that's during the winter. What about in countries that it's always constantly cold all year round? What happens then?
Usually isn't so great. Like, thanks to milder winters, the mountain pine beetle has been expanding its range and killing vast swaths of trees in western North America. So when it gets cold out, do you put on a coat and keep trucking? Curl up under a blanket with hot chocolate until spring, or do you make like a monarch and head for the tropics? Whatever your way of dealing, spare a thought for the insects that make it work without central heating, just with some clever adaptations. Thanks to Patreon patron Zach Lerman for asking, and thanks to all of our patrons who keep these answers coming. If you'd like to submit questions to be answered, go to patreon.com/scishow, and don't forget to go to youtube.com/scishow and subscribe.
Why do bug bites itch at the end?
Wow, okay, so this is from... Wait, SciShow? I know this isn't this the Fine Brothers? Dude, that's so cool. Okay, so that's an interesting video, and so they either hibernate under the soil or they travel, right? But what about in countries that are always cold? Do they just not live there? Is that the thing? Which is, I think that's one of the things I like about cold countries, that we don't have insects. I really don't like insects in my house. I find it interesting to study about them, but, you know, I don't think anybody likes them in your house. Hansi says, I think most of our insects in Norway survive in the egg and larval stages. Some adults hibernate this diapause, but they lay eggs and then die off. Oh, that's so sad. I mean, if you like insects, I guess. But that's pretty cool. I would say that I have seen much less insects here in the UK, which is a colder climate, than I did in, Brazil, which is a more tropical weather. And honestly, I do prefer an insect-free home. But they do appear during summer, so I guess even here in the UK, they can survive, like even... But I was wondering more like in colder colder countries, like literally all year round. Let's say like Norway, I would suppose, but Norway still has some summer, right? Some hot days. That's pretty cool. If you guys have more interesting facts, let me know in the comments. Thank you to Nami for requesting this, and thank you, Hansi, for selecting the video. Go over to Buy Me a Coffee or click over here to see more videos, educational videos. Bye-bye.